Today is April 5th, 2024. We are interviewing Cecile Durand. My name is Esther Finder. Ms. Durand is in Manhattan Beach, California. I am in Henderson, Nevada in the United States, and the language will be English. Thank you for speaking with us today. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, thank you.
What is your name, and can you please spell it?
My name is Cecile, C-E-C-I-L-E. Last name is Durand, D-U-R-A-N-D.
And what was your name at birth?
My name at birth was Cecile Cort, C-O-R-T.
Where were you born?
I was born in Nancy, France.
And when were you born?
April 9, 1933.
And forgive me for asking, but how old are you today?
90 years old.
What was your father's name?
My father's name was Cecile, I-S-I-L, but for the French he was Charles.
Could you spell that?
C-H-A-R-L-E-S.
Where was your father born?
In Romania. Tulcea.
Pardon?
Tulcea, Romania.
When did he move to France and why?
Oh, I don't know.
Was never explained to you why he moved? Okay, what do you know about his family?
Well, I don't know much because my father died 2 months after I was born, and that's all.
What happened to him?
He got the pneumonia, and in 3 days he was gone.
Do you know what work he did for a living?
Yeah, he fixed, with his stepbrother, he fixed a radiator.
What was your mother's name?
My mother's name was Anna Lea Avram.
And where was she born?
In Romania, Malmudia.
When did she move to France and why?
She moved to France when she was 12 years old. And she went to live with her brother and his wife.
Do you know why?
Because her mother was dead and that was her and her father. That's it.
Do you know anything else about her family?
All I know, the brother had 5 or 6 children, and the first one were twins, and they kept my mother at home so she could help her sister-in-law take care of the twins. She never went to school in France.
What else can you share with us about your family? How many children, how many cousins? What can you tell us?
Well, all I I've got, I never saw them, my parents' relative. Only once the stepbrother who worked with my father, and that's the only one. My father moved to Nancy, and all his relatives were living in Paris.
What are some of your earliest memories of life before the war?
I remember my mother going to work early in the morning, late at night, and during the day, and I was mostly alone or with my brother who were taking care of me.
What religious traditions did your family observe?
Well, we didn't eat pork, and my mother didn't do much. She never liked the candles on Shabbat, and I don't think she ever went to the temple.
What can you tell us about relationships between the Jewish community and the non-Jewish community of your childhood?
I don't know. I don't know. My mother was always working. I remember one time she took me to the synagogue, and that was it.
Did you witness or experience any anti-Semitism before the war?
Oh, yeah. I was called a dirty Jew so many times. Yeah.
Please share, tell us about it.
Yeah, the kids, mostly girls. It was a school for girls, and they knew I was Jewish, and they would call me a dirty Jew, and so I would pull their hair, punch a few, and that was it.
Anything else that you remember?
No.
How did things change when Germany invaded Poland and the war began?
Well, when the war started, I remember my mother crying. And I said to her, "Why are you crying? Look, everything is okay." She said, "You wait and see." And for a couple of years, everything was fine.
How did things change when Germany invaded France?
Yes.
You can tell us what the changes were.
Well, they started to arrest all the Polish Jews that flew from Poland to France, the German Jews that came to France so they could, they didn't have to deal with the German. But we were all French citizens, so my brother and I, we didn't worry too much, but my mother, she worried a lot. She cried a few times.
You were born in France, so I understand that you just said you were a French citizen.
Yeah.
What was her status? She was not born in France.
Yeah, but she became a French citizen when she married my father.
The Germans, when the Germans came and people started showing interest in the foreign-born Jews, you said the Polish Jews and the German Jews, were you aware of that, or was that something that you were too young to understand?
No, I could see it. We live in a neighborhood close to the market, and there was a lot of Jewish people there. And we could see sometimes the German going in a house and taking the people out.
Did you witness any violence?
No.
Did the Jews have to wear a Star of David?
Yeah. And we had to register to the police station.
Can you please share with us how things started to change from 40 to 41 to 42? Can you please walk us through some of the changes?
Well, I was a little girl, so, but I noticed that we could see the German going on their motorcycle with the seat car, going into our street and checking things. And sometimes they would go in the market and check people out. And for any reason, they could stop you, take you, and put it in a camp.
When did the authorities start going after French-born Jews and French citizens?
In 1944.
And what happened to you in your family?
In 1944, the German came. My older brother was living in Paris, and one night he came to Nancy and told my mom, they are arresting all the Jewish people in Paris. You have to do something. But it was already too late. There was a curfew. We couldn't go anywhere. And my mother said, well, what can we do? She said, well, what happened in Paris may not happen in Nancy. So we stayed, we went to bed. And the next day, my mother went to work. My brother Léon went to work. My brother Paul got up and did his homework. I was still in bed because it was a Thursday, there was no school that day. And my brother who came from Paris was still in bed, and there was a knock on the door. My brother Paul opened the door and he found himself looking into 2 German soldiers and 2 French policemen. They told him, where is your mother? And he said, well, she's at work. Where is she working? She was a custodian at the girls' school. So, where is your brother? He's at work. He worked for a shoe factory. So the 2 other, the German and the policeman, went to get my mother. The other 2 went to get my mother, my brother. And while they were gone, I got up. My brother Pierre got up and we decided what to do. So we got dressed. We just had time to go up to the attic. They were coming back. I could hear my mom screaming, trying to tell people to hide because the police and the German were there to pick them up. But my mother and my brother were the only one left, and they were put in a bus. I was still in the attic with my brother Pierre, and when the German took off with my brother, my two brothers and my mother, then my brother took me to a friend of my mom, and I stayed there for a couple of days.
I would like to pause here and have you introduce us to your siblings, your brothers. Who is the oldest? Who is next?
My brother Pierre was the oldest. He was 10 years older than me. And then there was my brother Leon. He was 16 at the time. And my brother Paul, 14. And I was 10.
And you said your mother and brother were put on a bus.
My mother and two brothers were put on a bus. My
And
brother Léon and my brother Paul were taken with my mom.
And what happened to them?
They were sent to some camp in Drancy. And from there, they were sent in Paris in another camp. And from there, they went to Germany.
Do you know what happened next?
Yeah. My mother and my brother Paul were sent to the gas chamber. My brother Leon was kept alive. He was transferred to another camp, Mauthausen, where he worked on the road. He was kept alive. He came back from the camp the following year, but he died 1 month later.
Did he come back during the war or after the war?
He came back after the war. He was liberated by the Americans, and he was in such a bad shape. He went to the hospital in Paris, and he died 1 month later.
What about you? What was happening to you?
Well, some nice people took care of me. They sent me to the south of France, southwest of France. The Germans were there, but there was not that many. And I lived with a family. The man was captain in World War I, his wife. They didn't have any children. And two of their nieces came with me, and we live in Garidèche, close to Toulouse, France.
Do you know the captain's name, the family name?
No. We always call him captain. And That's it.
And what was it like living with them?
It was okay. They were very nice people, but they had food coupon for two, and we were five. There was nothing much to eat, so I was always hungry. They
How
sent
did
me,
they treat you? Go ahead.
they sent me to a Catholic school, and all I could do is go to school, came home, and stay inside the house. I couldn't go anywhere because they were afraid that somebody might tell the police and the German that I was a Jewish girl, and they would take me.
How did the captain treat your people who saved you? How did they treat you?
Oh, they were very nice. They were, you know, they took care of me. They make sure I was, clothes and everything, because I left my house in France. I mean, in Nancy, I had nothing. So they made sure I had clothes, I had a little bit of food, and I went to school.
During this time, when you were with the captain, did you have any idea what was happening with your mother and your brothers that had been taken?
Yes, because we were listening to the radio. The captain had the radio, and we could listen to the news. So I knew my two brothers, and my mom were taken, but I didn't know where. I knew she was in a camp, but I don't know which one.
What about the rest of your family? Didn't you have another brother?
Yeah, my older brother, when I went to the captain, he joined the armed forces. L'autre, Tassini army, the French army, who was in Algeria, and he got into fighting, and he got a grenade that exploded in his right hand, shook off 4 of his fingers, leaving only the pinky.
Can you tell us more?
He was in they put a bandage on his hand, and he had to fight. There was no other way. So he continued to fight, and when he was liberated, he went to the hospital. When they took care of his hand.
Did you have a false name?
No.
You kept your same name. Were you able to have papers, identification papers?
No. I didn't have anything.
How long were you with the captain?
I got there in March, And about 8 months, March, April, 6 months.
And what happened next?
Well, I was at school one day, and the German came, and they said to the captain, "We're going to take your bicycle. We're coming back tomorrow. We're going to take your bicycle." The captain told his nieces, the girls that came with me, "Let's go. We're going to leave. I don't want the German to get my bicycles." And the 2 girls said, "No, we don't want to leave Cecile all alone when she gets home." So the captain and his wife took off on 2 bicycles, but before he left, he broke the 2 other bicycles, so the German will have it. When I came home from school, the 2 girls were there. And I said, "Where is the captain?" And they told me he took off with his wife. So that was just the 3 of us. So we leave about the next day, the German came and they saw the bicycle broken, 2 bicycles broken. They said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, they got broken." So they left. They didn't do anything. And so we lived like that for about a month and a half. And then the German came back. They wanted the chicken. And the girl said, "Okay, take the chicken." And they started to look around the house. And one of the German was going up the stair that go to the attic. But he was called by his commanding officer, I guess. He came down. He didn't go up. He came down and they left with our chicken. When they left, one of the girls went up the attic, and when she opened the trap, she saw ammunition all over the place, gun, grenades. We didn't know about it, because the captain had all that stuff in his attic. And the 2 girls say, "We cannot stay here. The Germans are coming back, and with all those arms upstairs, it's too dangerous for us." So we packed a few things and we took off. When we could take a train, we did, but most of the time we had to walk. And if you have a map, you can see Toulouse is west, southwest, and Nancy is northeast. So we walk, we could take a ride, whatever, and finally it took us almost a month to get to Nancy. Sometime we found some farmer who let us sleep in with the animals, and sometimes we would just sleep under a bench in a park or something. When I got to Nancy, the 2 girls dropped me off at their mother's house. But the mother had a little mom and pop grocery store. So once again, I had to stay in the room all day. I could come out only at night when the store was closed. The two girls, I don't know what happened to them. They dropped me off at their mom and they took off. I don't know where they went. But they were very nice. They were.
Can you tell us their names and how old they were?
Yeah. One was, the last name was Rouillon. One was Paulette and one was Marcel. Paulette was 18 and Marcel was 16.
And how long did you stay where you are now?
I stayed with their mom maybe a month. And Nancy was liberated. So the mom took me to our neighbor, who was a nice lady, and she has a son and a husband, and I stayed with them for for quite a while.
Do you know their family name?
Yeah. The lady was Michelle. Her last name was Michelle. I think her first husband was dead, and the second one was Ponsard.
You're a very young person when all this is happening.
Yeah.
What were your emotional reactions to going from place to place, from person to person?
I was always worried, you know. I was worried that the German was going to take me and put me in a camp. I was worried, am I going to see my mom again, my brothers? I knew they took my mom and two brothers, but I don't know if I will ever see them again.
At this time, still during the war, did you have any idea about the death camps and the shooting and everything that was going on with the Jews in Europe?
Oh, yeah, because like I told you, we were listening to the news.
And where was the news coming from that you were listening to?
I don't know. And so we knew what was going on. I knew there was a gas chamber. I knew that my mom was in a camp, but maybe, you know, I thought maybe that she will be safe. Maybe she will come back. And my brother, you know, maybe they will put them to work.
What else can you share with us about your experience at this time? I mean, were you able to interact with people in this, you said in school, or did you get to go to church?
No,
I mean, were you just always in hiding?
I didn't go to church. I was always in the house. I couldn't go out, only to go to school.
And how were you treated in the school?
I was okay. The nun, they knew that I was hungry all the time because I would eat my lunch before I got to the school. So they know I didn't have any lunch. So when somebody didn't finish her lunch, she would give it to me.
Who knew you were Jewish?
Nobody.
Not the people who were sheltering you and not in the school. Nobody knew.
No.
What happened next?
What happened? Well, Nancy was liberated, so I went to live to a neighbor of my mom, and I stayed there until my brother come back from the hospital, and he thought I'd be better off living with some relative who have, be safe. So he sent me to live in Paris, to live with a aunt that I didn't even know had. And she had 3 children living in one room, no water, no bathroom. We had to go in the hallway to wash, and everything. And by the time my brother Leon came back from the camp, he was safe, but he went to the hospital in Paris. And when I went to his room, I didn't recognize him. He was gone a year, and I didn't recognize him. He said, "Come on, you're not gonna kiss me? I'm your brother." So I went, I gave him a kiss, and he was such a bad shape, I didn't recognize him. 1 month later, he was dead. They couldn't save him.
Was he able to tell you what happened to him?
Yeah,
Did he talk about it?
he told my brother Pierre what happened. That he was in a camp and he was building the road. He was transferred, but before he died, he told us that my mom and my brother Paul were sent to the gas chamber, and he took their body and put them in the crematoire. He said, "Don't expect them to come back. They won't. They're dead." 1 month later, he was dead also.
Are you okay to continue, or do you want to take a break?
No, I'm okay.
Your brother, before he died, told you that he took the bodies?
He took the body of his mom and his little brother and put them in the crematoire. They were dead.
Did he say how long he was in that camp before he got transferred out?
No, he didn't.
You told me you were liberated, but you didn't tell me who liberated you.
No, American.
And how did the Americans treat the local citizens?
Oh, they were nice. You know, we would see American walking down the street. So we would go chocolate, cigarette, and if they had any, they would give it to us. But the black people were more generous than the white ones. So every time we would see a black soldier, we would go to him, cigarette, chocolate, and if they had, they would give it to us.
Did you see any fighting or did you hear any battles?
Once, when we left Garidesh, where I was with the captain, with the two girls, we got to a city called Avignon, and then the sirens started, and we just had time to go and hide, and the Americans were bombarding the city.
Did you witness any acts of anti-Semitism after liberation?
Oh, no. But what I saw, all the women who were having affair with the German or their own, they were shaving their head, and they were, put them in a place where everybody could see them. But the one who did good, who helped the Jews, they didn't do anything.
What was the state of your health at the end of the war?
Well, when my brother took me to a aunt, I told you about. She saw that I was not right, sleeping under the bench and not enough food to eat. So she had me put in it's called a preventorium for sick children. I spent a year there, and the nuns were taking care of me. We were there was a lot of people, but I think I was the only Jewish one there. One day I was called to help in the kitchen to peel potatoes. And so I went, and they said, come back tomorrow. The next day I went back. I did that for a few days. And then one day I was peeling potatoes, and the Mother Superior came in the kitchen. And she said, what is she doing there? And one of the workers said, well, nobody is paying for her, so we're putting her to work. He said, you cannot do that. And she said, Cecile, go back with the other girl. And that was the end of it. I stopped peeling potatoes. Nobody was paying for me. But the French government was paying for me, but they were sending the money to my brother. And my brother, he couldn't work with his hand. So he was keeping the money for himself.
Is there anything else that comes to your mind now about the war years that you haven't shared with us yet?
The war?
What happened to you during the war years? Is there anything else that you want to share that you haven't discussed already?
No, I was okay. The German came and took my mom. It was almost the end of the war. It was March 44. So all those, for me, the war was be careful, don't talk to German, be nice and all that. But after March, that's everything happened to me and my family.
So you moved around quite a bit during the war. What about after the war? Did you settle in one place or did you move around some more?
Well, I was in the Preventorium, and then when I came out, my grandmother and my grandfather, they took me in because my aunt, who had the 3 children, they sent her children to America. She had relatives there, and she sent her 3 children to America. So she didn't want to take another child. So I went to live with my grandparents. And
Where?
in Paris. And like my aunt, they didn't have any running water. They didn't have any bathroom, nothing. You had to go in the hallway. And my grandfather saw that he couldn't take care of me, so he had me go to a children's home, a Jewish children's home.
Before we go to the children's home, how did your grandparents survive?
I don't know. They were hiding somewhere. I don't know where they went. How
They weren't hiding.
Yeah. But I don't know how they managed to survive. And my mom didn't. And my brother didn't. We thought we would be safe being French. The war was almost over. And so my mom said, we didn't have anywhere to go anyway.
You just said your mom made the comment that there was no place to go anyway. Do you remember conversations that your family had about what choices, where you could go or what you could do during the war?
Yeah, we had nowhere to go. That was just my mom, my brother Pierre, who was living in Paris, my 2 other brothers, and me, and my father was dead. My father died 2 months after I was born. So my mother had to work all the time.
A moment ago, you mentioned that your grandparents had you put in a children's home.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I was in the children's home in the banlieue de Paris. The home was Le Vieux Phare. He was, I guess they're getting money from the French government and from the Americans. I stayed there 5 years. And no, let's see. Yeah, about 5 years until I turned 18. And when I turned 18, they say, you have to go. You know, they didn't keep children over 18. So my brother was back in Nancy. He had gotten married. So I went to live with him.
Do you know the name of this children's home where you spent 5 years?
Yeah, de Vieux Fort.
Could you spell that?
V-I-E-U-X. P-H-A-R-E.
And during this time that you were there for the 5 years, were you able to see your grandparents at all?
No. Once my grandfather came, he wanted me to go back to my aunt to take care because she got another child. She got a little girl and she couldn't take care of her because she had to work. She was doing men clothing. And I said, no, I don't want to go. I'm better off in the children's home. So I stayed in the children's home.
What were some of the challenges that you personally had rebuilding your life after the war?
After the war, I was in a children's home, and then I went to live with my brother. And that was the worst place I've ever been. My brother was terrible. I mean, I hate to say that, but I think his wife was telling him, you know, they didn't want me around. And so I was 18, I found myself a job, and you could find an apartment in France for any money. So I stayed with them, and I worked in a laundromat. And they had little shop in different endroits. People would drop their clothes because nobody had a washing machine. And we would do the work. And so every time there was, oh, who wants to work another shift? I volunteered because I didn't want to go home.
When you were a student, what did you think you would be when you grew up?
Well, I was a student, and they told me, you're going to be a seamstress. I didn't want to be a seamstress. I wanted to be a nurse. But they told me, they gave me a test, they said, you'll be a seamstress. So I went to school to learn how to sew. The school I went to is Ort, O-R-T. It was a Jewish school. Yeah.
So you were learning a trade?
Yeah.
In the years that you were in this children's home, you said it was a Jewish children's home, Did you experience any anti-Semitism around you? Not in the home, obviously, because it was a Jewish home, but was there anti-Semitism around you in France?
No. No, because I went to the Jewish home and I went to the Jewish school, to learn a trade. So mostly all Jewish people. But when I went to elementary school, no. No.
How long did you stay in France?
I stayed until I was 22, no, 24.
And from 8, go ahead.
I spent, after working in a laundromat, I got sick again. So I was sent to Switzerland for a year and a half. Something wrong with my lungs, and I stayed there a year and a half.
When?
I was 22.
After you were in Switzerland for a year and a half, where did you go next?
I came back to France, and then I went to school to become a nurse. And a boy that was a best friend of mine in the children's home came to the United States with his mom and his dad, and he was sent to Germany in military service, the US Army. So he said, "Can I see you?" Sure. So he came to see me. A year later, we got married.
And his name?
Jack Durand.
And when you got...
He was my best friend one of my best friends when I was in the children's home. And we got back together.
When you got married, where did you live?
For 3 months, we lived in Germany, and then he was shipped back to the United States. And so I came back to live with my brother and his wife. And 3 months later, I came in this country.
What was it like for you to be in Germany after the war?
Oh, I hated it. I still hate it. I told my children, never buy a German car. Never.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your time in Germany? How were you treated by the Germans? What did you do there? What can you share with us?
I was there just 3 months. So we had a little room, and the people who rented the room were pretty nice. But I hated them.
So you were in Germany for a short time.
Yeah, 3 months.
And I'm a little confused. You went back to your brother's?
Yeah.
And where did he go?
My brother was...
No. You said you were married and you went to Germany.
Yeah. My
Where'd your
brother
husband go?
stayed in France.
So you both went to live with your brother?
No. Just... My brother was at my mother's apartment, so he was living there with his wife. And when I went to France from the children's home, I went to live with him because it was my home. That's where I was born. So he could kick me out. So when I went back to Germany, I got married, went with my husband to Germany for 3 months. When my husband was sent back to the United States, I went back to my brother, but I made the paper to come back to go to America.
What were your expectations of America? What did you think you'd find there?
Everything was so new. I mean, it was wonderful. The day I came to Los Angeles, it was raining. Oh, you could see 10 feet in front of you, and I loved it. Yeah. We had an apartment where the bed was in a wall, so every time we went at night, we had to pull the bed out. But my husband when he got out of the army, he was working nights, so he would sleep during the day. So the bed was always out, and I loved it. I never had such a nice place.
When did you learn to speak English?
Well, I went to school and then, working. But I think I didn't lose my accent. Because I talked to someone, say, where are you coming from? So I still have a French accent.
When you came to the United States, how were you treated by the Americans?
I was treated very well.
Did anybody ask you about the war?
No. My husband had his parents, so I told them, and that's it. I went to work for Bullock's, Wilshire. I don't know if you. That was a very fancy store. I did alteration there. And all the people working in the alteration were people from Greece. One was from Italy. We were all foreigners. So.
Did you experience any anti-Semitism in the United States?
No.
Was your husband also a survivor?
Yeah.
What was his story?
His story was his mom was German. She was living in France, and I don't know what happened to his real father because she never said anything. And one day she took him, he was 4 years old, and she dropped him in a cafe. I don't know if she knew the people that she dropped her son there or what, but she dropped him off and she took off. And 6 years later, she sent some social worker to get her son back and to put him close to Paris because he was Orléans, which is about 90 miles from Paris, but she wanted him closer to her. She didn't come to see him when she got out. She sent a social worker. She was taken by the German, and she was sent in a farm to work there. And there she met Monsieur Durand. But he was not married, he was a French soldier, a prisoner of war working there. And at the end of the war, the French wanted to send her back to Germany. And she didn't want to go there. So she asked Monsieur Durand to marry her. She said, please marry me just for a week, for a month. Marry me so I can stay in France. And he did. And they were married for 46 years. And he adopted my husband. He gave him his name. But the worst we heard was my father-in-law's sister. She didn't like her brother getting married to a German woman. She resented that. Yeah.
You mentioned that you have a family. Did you speak to your family about your experiences in your childhood?
I did, but they don't want. It's better. But my daughter said she would like a copy of the video, if you could.
Have you ever spoken publicly about your childhood experiences?
No.
What work have you done in the United States?
Well, I was a seamstress.
The whole time?
Yeah, and then I worked for a friend of mine. She babysit kids, so I help her. But mostly I did alterations.
I have a couple of questions for you about more recent things. I wanted to ask you about the war in Ukraine and your reaction to seeing the refugees and seeing what happened there. How do you react to sites coming from that war?
I really, my heart goes out to those people because I know what it is. To leave your home and to go to another country, you don't speak the language, most of them, and start anew.
What about the situation in Israel?
Oh, that's terrible. Terrible. I mean, those Muslims, they will never learn to leave us alone. They started it. I mean, the Jewish people were dancing, and then they go and attack. What do you expect?
Is there anything we have not talked about that you want to share?
Yeah. When I came to the United States, I sponsored my brother, his wife, and his 2 children to come here. And they did good. My brother is dead now, my sister-in-law also. But now he had 3 children, and one of them died. One child is, the oldest is in New York, and one is in Los Angeles, Fountain Valley.
When you look back on your childhood during the war, or your early years, you were not a toddler, you were a little bit older. When you look back to those years, what would you like people to understand about your experience as a Jewish child in that environment?
You know, when you are Jewish, you have to always looking behind you, because you don't know who's your friend, who is not. I had some good friends, and we would start a fight, and they would call a Jew in France. People, my mom helped and all that. And, you know, they would call me a Jew. And the next day we were friends again.
My last question, what message do you have for anyone watching this interview?
That's a tough one. I wish people would not think about you're Jewish, you're Arab, you're Catholic. Just take care of each other and be friends.
Anything else? Thank you for, were you going to say something?
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Can you tell us, please, who are these people?
This is my father and my mother.
And their names, please?
The name is Charles Cecile Kort, and my mother is Anna Lea Kort.
And when and where were these pictures taken?
They were taken in Paris, France.
Do you know when?
In 1933.
Okay, thank you. And who are these people in this picture?
This is my father, Charles.
His name?
Cecile Charles Kort, and my 3 brothers.
Who's the oldest?
Pierre, Leon, and Paul.
And when was this taken and where?
These were taken in Nancy, France.
Do you know when?
No, I don't know. I don't have a date.
Okay, thank you. And who are these people?
Those are my brother and myself, my brother Pierre, Léon, Paul, and me.
And your name?
Cecile. This picture was taken in 1935.
Where?
In Nancy, France.
And the family last name, please?
Cort. C-O-R-T.
Thank you. And these people, can you tell us about them?
Yes, this is my mom, Anna-Léa Cort, my brother Pierre Cort, my brother Leon Cort, my brother Paul Cort, and me, Cecile Cort.
And
the picture
when and where?
À Nancy, France, in a park.
Do you know what year?
Yes, in 1937.
Thank you. Please tell us about this picture.
This picture is from my brother Leon Cort, my brother Paul Cort, and me, Cecile Cort. This picture was taken in Nancy, France.
And when was it taken?
In 1940.
Thank you. Please tell us about this picture.
This picture is from my brother Paul Cort, and the distribution of prizes at the end of the school year, and me, Cecile Cort.
And when and where was it taken?
It was taken in Nancy, France, at 1943.
You want to share with us what you just told us about your brother?
Yes. He was always the first one of his class. He's the one getting all the prizes. And he would have been a great doctor. He wanted to become a doctor. He would have been a great one.
Thank you. What are we looking at now?
It's my brother Leon Touston. He died in Paris 1 month after being liberated by the Americans from the concentration camp.
And the picture was taken where?
In Paris, France.
When was the picture taken?
In 1945, in a cimetière Pantin, Paris.
Okay, thank you. And this, what are we looking at now?
This is a certificate comme quoi my mother and my 2 brothers ont été déportés.
And it gives their names and the dates?
Yes.
Thank you. What are we looking at now?
This is a death certificate que my brother Leon passed away at the hospital of Paris after being rescued 1 month.
And it has his name and the date?
Yes, his name is Leon Court, and the date is June 28, 1945.
Thank you.
And
what are we looking at now?
This
is
is
this?
a death certificate of my brother taken in Nancy, France.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
This is a death certificate of my brother who died at Auschwitz.
And it has his name and the date?
Yes, his name is Corporal. He was 14 years old.
Thank you very much. And this now concludes the interview.